above the tree line here on Mount Moosilauke. Some nice big cairns leading the way, pretty windy and completely socked in. I'd say visibility is maybe 100 feet. Not terrible, could be a lot worse. No views. So this is the summit of Moosilauke. Very windy. Not a whole lot of, well, fair visibility on the summit. Not a whole lot in terms of any views. Walking here on the ridge of Mount Moosilauke, it's all pretty well socked in. Got this really interesting, what they call here, alpine environment with these little tiny trees. They're all like, I don't know, less than 4 feet tall. Coming down, it's pretty slippery coming off the Moosilauke. That's a nice wood stairs there, and then this river is cut into the rock. So I'm going out that way. Climbing Kinsman Ridge here. Mountain's just straight up there, I believe. Came out onto this marsh here though. Nice cliffs flanking the marsh. Marsh is over here. And then more mountain. And then back up there, you can just almost see the summit of Kinsman. I think that's South Kinsman. Getting to the top of Kinsman, just poked out over the trees. Been some good climbing. This is not bad compared to what I've been doing. It has felt like not straight up, but pretty good class 2 or 3 climbing. Made it to South Kinsman. Very nice alpine zone here. With Franconia Ridge there just visible through the clouds. Have to descend probably 2,000 or 3,000 feet down into Lincoln, and then climb that this evening / tomorrow. Here we are in the wildlands of Lincoln with a good old black bear. Look at him, scared. Well, I just got dropped off a little bit from the trail here in Franconia Notch. Got a ride into Lincoln, New Hampshire, perhaps the most touristy spot I've seen yet on the trail. Saw a bear and got some Chinese food, exchanged some darn tough socks, got a good amount of food and resupply food, and then used the same shuttle to get back out of town. Pretty good. I think in all maybe 2.5 hours, which pretty good in my book for some gear, food, and resupply. Oh, and I got some coffee so I can hike a little bit later this evening. Plus, real coffee is always nice. Had an ice cream sandwich while I was waiting for the shuttle. Pretty dark clouds on the horizon, probably gonna rain tonight. And there's rain projected tomorrow morning and afternoon, so we'll see. I don't know if I'm gonna go and do the ridge walk or not. Don't want to get caught up there in a storm. We'll see. On the approach to Mount Lawrence, it's been a pretty crappy day overall. Super humid, so I'm entirely soaked. And now I'm going to be ridge walking for the next 2 or 3 miles in cloud. really is not that enticing, other than the fact that the trail is pretty nice compared to what I've been walking on. But it's just cold and I can't really see anything. Just it's not a great motivator overall. The view of the whites here, a little hazy just out behind the clouds. Hard day today, got a lot of climbing ahead of us. Hopefully we're camping somewhere down there this evening. Drying stuff out and playing frisbee.
Consistently, no people at them.
Got a big hut here. Made it to the top of South Twin Mountain. I'm on a secondary peak here away from everyone. I think I'm looking somewhat north, Mount Washington and Eisenhower, somewhere out there. Got some clouds moving in, whipping up the ridge. So confirmed, I'm gonna walk down this ridge up to here, across the ridge, I believe over, and then there's this bald mountain there, and then we'll drop down and have a nice flat walk for the day, I believe. Look at this. I think it's a little quail. Or I'm not sure, something. Mount Washington in the distance. It's tomorrow or the next day. And then we're gonna come out into the bottom of this valley. And you can actually see the trail over there. Biting flies hurt so much, man. All over my legs. Just finished at Zealand Falls. Really fun there. Trying to bust my butt about 7 miles to Crawford Notch, which will then put me on the approach to Mount Washington. Trying to get maybe 1,000 feet of that climb done today. And then, well, maybe more if I can, but get up early tomorrow morning and do Mount Washington. Things have begun to look up out here in the whites after a very, very bad day. First day on Franconia Ridge. A wonderfully flat trail through this valley. On the approach to Mount Washington. We came down from that mountaintop where I just showed the prior video. And we're going to continue out this valley and loop around what is here, kind of towards, I believe, what is the east or northeast direction to the base of a ridge up Mount Washington. Got some really, really exquisite cliffs up here. Those would be great to go climb on for a little bit. Nice granite, man. Nice view up to Mount Washington. We got traversed up here on this ridge up to Mount Washington and over. Out in there is Madison and Eisenhower, and I don't know the rest, but there's a bunch of peaks named after presidents per the presidential range. We've got a hut there that's maintained by the Appalachian Mountain Company, otherwise known as the Appalachian Money Company to thru hikers, because they just take your money. It's going to be a long one. I think maybe still 10 miles till Washington, and I have to go a couple more down the backside. Really, really nice views. A little bit of scrubby trees here on the top. Nothing grows very big because the wind's pretty rough. Approach to Mount Washington there in the distance. On Eisenhower here. And the ridge that direction. I'm going to follow this ridge up and around. Beautiful ridge walk here. Mount Washington in the back. It's nice and clear, but unfortunately that means it's so exposed to the sun. I really wish I had a pair of sunglasses and a sun hoodie. A mile and a half to a hut, and then another mile after that to the top. It's gonna be a late night, so I gotta go like 6 miles past the top. Probably won't summit till 3:30. Oh man. And it's gonna rain tonight, so you do not want to be up on this ridge. That will be nasty. This is the ridge I've been walking for the last while. You see the trail there? And then this is looking, I think south, I'm not sure. In the middle of the presidential range. Finally got to Lake of the Clouds hut here at the base of Mount Washington. Hopefully they have some fresh bread I can buy. And then it's off to the summit climb. Weather doesn't look too bad today. On the top of Mount Washington, looking out to the northeast. Don't mind the road. It's a tourist trap up here. Day is not over. Still got a lot of work to get off this blasted mountain. So I'll take this ridge along here, and I believe up here and over Mount Adams, and then we'll dive back down off the other side and ruin my knees. 5.5 miles, and it's 4 o'clock. Supposedly it gets dark at 7:30. It's gonna be a doozy. Going down on these rocks is really rough. Making dinner for one day. On the way down from Washington. Last night was a hard one. The trail is very rough, so we elected to camp above tree line. Fortunate to find a very small spring near a small bog up here underneath Mount Adams, and spent the night in a little semi-protected cove with a little bit of rain this morning and good amount of fog, or I guess this is really a cloud. I got the hike down to US 9 this morning. Gonna be a killer. A lot of downhill. And then back up into the last stretch of the Whites before going into Gorham in a couple days, or in probably a day and a half or 2 days. Hiking down to an AMC hut this morning. It sits right beneath Mount Monroe. About 0.2 miles left to the hut. I can buy some coffee for the morning. This is the ridge we're descending down to US 9. Be a good rock hop for a while until we get to the tree line just there at the edge of the ridge. Here's another view of that ridge. Really awesome with all the clouds coming up the backside. Climbing up just north of the presidential range. It's pretty socked in today. Lots of clouds. Yesterday was entirely clear. It's a good probably hour and 45-minute climb up here. Somebody rated it the hardest on the AT. It's been a nice climb. It's pretty windy out. I had dinner at a hut. They had some leftovers, so I had turkey and mashed potatoes. And now I'm just sitting here in my tent. Gonna Gonna make some more mashed potatoes actually. I'm freezing. I need to get in my bag. Pretty good day so far. Tomorrow will be the last day in the Whites. We're going into some town, I forget the name. That will be really nice because I'm really feeling the wear and tear on my body after a couple, well, almost a week of hard days. And coming off of being sick like 2 weeks ago. Well, it's the last day in the Whites. Walking just at the tree line this morning. It's really cold. There's a cold front that blew in last night. Stayed just about a quarter mile from the Carter Notch hut. It's a rather nice small hut run by the AMC up here. A lot of the other ones are kind of big and sterile, and this was rather home. Like, felt like a place that people inhabit. One of the women there that was staying there this morning saw me standing outside getting some water, and offered me a half-eaten scone, which I obliged. Very nice, freshly baked this morning, I guess. Yeah, so last day in the Whites. Got a couple big climbs left, and then be tenting at a hostel outside of Gorham this evening, getting some resupply, and then heading on to meet Mom and Dad near Bethel, or I think it's some notch coming up in about 40 or 50 miles. Yeah, it should be a nice run this week. Hopefully it doesn't get too much colder. With the gusts, it's pretty chilly up here. Yesterday, I got to hike out of Pinkham Notch with an ultra runner named Christian Morgan. He's from England. Born in England, I guess, grew up in Australia, has lived all over the world. But I first learned about him about a month or two ago. He was attempting to break the fastest known time on the Appalachian Trail, and was trail running 40 to 50 miles every day, starting down in Georgia. He didn't get super far due to an injury, and so got off trail, and then just recently got back on in Hanover and has been hiking, trying to learn about the trail and understand it, and just spending time with people. And so I was very fortunate to get to hike with him yesterday. He holds the record for the FKT of the longest trail in England, and has tried twice actually for the Appalachian Trail. And was a pacer for Carl Sagan, or forget the guy's name, who has the record now at about 41 days. He paced him for 15 back in 2018. So a real jovial guy, very interesting to talk to. The view somewhat south along the ridge that I've been hiking this morning. So I've just come up this, but this ridge out here, and then I believe up through there is what I've been hiking, along with the ridge in the back. I could be wrong, but I think that seems right. 4 or 5 big 4,000 foot peaks today. And then here in the background right there is Mount Washington. And you can still hear car engines revving from the race to the clouds that's going on today. This is the last big climb here. I think I still have 500 feet left. I can't see the summit though. 500 feet up this ridge till the last 4,000 foot peak. That's technically here in the whites. Yeah. Get a view here. That's a moose track right there. Half the size of my foot, man.